From our welfare department. Without further ado, I'm going to defer proceedings to our change champion-in-chief and president, Advocate Nelson.
Thank you very much. And an update on the KweKwe matter and the escalation of political violence against the citizens in Zimbabwe. You are aware that we've just lost a life. You are aware that our rally was attacked yesterday, unprovoked, uninvited. We just saw members of ZANU-PF and that are terrorizing people in KweKwe, besieging our rally, armed with sticks and some primitive weapons. As we speak right now, what is clear is that a dark cloud hangs over the nation of Zimbabwe as we mourn the passing on of a very important citizen whose life has been cut short by political intolerance, a culture of violence that has been promoted with impunity and immunity. We are saying this is the time to draw a line in the sand. Enough is enough. We can't continue to lose political life on account of politics. No life should be lost on account of political differences, political conversations, or a political contestation or a contest like an election. We stand in solidarity with the Ngube family who have been deceased, whose member has been deceased, Mboneni Ngube, who was brutally attacked by a spear. And the kind of weapons we are talking about tells you that we are so backward. These are Stone Age weapons that are being used in this day and age. But it tells you how primitive our colleagues, our competitors, our opposite number are. As you are aware, violence is normally resorted to by the defeated and the losing. What is clear is that ZANU-PF's writing is on the wall. What is clear is that ZANU-PF will not win an election in this country. What is clear is that we are the next government in Zimbabwe. And because they can't understand this reality, they continue to do what they're doing. And as you know, violence has never been an instrument used by those who are strong. Bullies are very quick to act in violence. Bullies are weak people who use force and violence to deal with their own fears and anxieties, but also to massage their own egos. We are back to where we were. We are now going where we are coming from. 2008, if not worse, is upon us. As I have already said, it's a political tinderbox. The political situation in the country is worsening. The dark cloud is once again formed. And you can see that the whole purpose of being this provocative is intended to plunge the country into bloodshed, into vulnerability, incessant instability. And of course, that paves way for those who want to raid the state coffers and also cause corruption to thrive, because those will be the necessary ingredients for corruption. As you are aware, and as you have seen, across the whole country, the young people are hungry for change. They are hunting for hope. They are desperate for opportunities. This is why you find young people in South Africa, in Botswana, in Zambia, in Malawi. It's because they want opportunities. It's not just the young. It's even now the elderly. Because there's nothing in it for them. Every citizen of Zimbabwe is asking for change, demanding change. That's why we have said we are citizens, coalition for change. We are answering to that call by the citizens as they demand change. But must understand, no amount of a threat or intimidation will save the dictatorship from the young people. Young people have no jobs. Young people have just left college. They do not have any opportunity available. Students in universities and in colleges are not supported. There's no academic freedom, no autonomy of tertiary institutions. And of course, education is being weaponized and commercialized, commoditized, to the extent that none is able to have access if they are not from well-to-do families or family backgrounds. But you must also understand this. But, Mr. Mnangagwa, how do you think that these young people are going to react to your suppression? How do you think they are feeling? And how do you think that they will feel as you continue to put on the jacket that Smith was putting on? The jacket of dictatorship. How do you feel, Mr. Mnangagwa? You always are proud that you fought for the liberation of this country. But there's a difference between liberation and oppression. Liberation means freedom. But what we are seeing is the opposite of that freedom. Is it not the same that you went through under Smith when you were suppressed? Is this not what gave birth to the liberation idea during the liberation struggle? What do you think this suppression is going to give birth? Does it even visit your mind that one day you will wake up and you will not be in government? Does it even visit your mind that you also have children and family that have to live in a free and happy Zimbabwe? What does this do when you terrorize other people's families? What do you do? Why have you not even bothered to visit the Nwe family and pay condolences? That heartlessness is what is going to be a big challenge for the country to move forward. You are aware that you all veterans out there, the liberation struggle was primarily because of what we are seeing now. You in government, the entire crop of leaders who constitute government today, you were about 18 to 30 years of age. Just the same age as the young people who were brutalized in KweKwe last Sunday and are brutalizing across the whole country. So it's the same thing. What would that send our country to? The youths have never been formally employed. Young people have never known a salary. Young people do not even know the meaning of their own Zimbabwean currency. Young people have never tasted freedom. Young people do not understand the value of education because education means nothing. Never has the opportunity to go to school been squandered so wickedly. There are no social safety nets for the government. No hospitals. Men are resorting to vending. Like this young man, Nure, who was now doing mining as a small-scale miner. A very sad story. The only thing that the young people are asking for is self-determination through peaceful campaign and peaceful elections. We're people of peace. Peace is our signature. Peace is who we are. That's our identity. That's why all the provocation against us, we have resisted. Not because we do not have capacity to react or respond in a manner that is expected of all the people who are oppressed, but because we understand that peace is fragile. We also understand that peace is simple. And to do away with peace is to do away with the stability of a nation and the prosperity of a nation and the dignity of generations. But let me say, oppressors in Zimbabwe, hear me out. Especially you who think that oppression is fashionable. Brutality is seasonal. Violence is not permanent. Power is temporary. You are your own worst enemies. You are only making your situation very worse. Change is coming. Believe you me, change is coming. In fact, what you are seeing are the telltale signs that the writing is on the wall and that change is on its way. When change is coming, those who are to be changed begin to behave in a hysterical manner. They panic like a snake. They want to avoid the inevitable. But freedom is coming. and freedom can't be postponed, delayed, or denied. There is no other party in this country that has such a history of violence, such as ZANU-PF. Of course, they must know the consequences of closing channels of health political discourse, health, deliberative, and conversational politics. That's what we stand for. We want to fight over ideas. We want a clash of civilizations in thought, and not a clash where stones are being used, where you are using noble carries. I was addressing the crowd, and I saw these people coming, almost like what used to happen during those primitive years, throwing spears onto people, stones, all sorts of primitive people. It shocked me, and I'm glad, and I want to thank the people of KweKwe and the people of Zimbabwe and the Change family for exercising restraint. It was provocative, and they wanted bloodshed. In fact, I had been informed prior that they wanted to do this. I'd also been informed, and I'm reliably informed, that the police were aware of this thing, and they know, because they had the intelligence. Fellow citizens, our journalists, I must say, as we go into the details of what transpired in KweKwe, I just wanted you to know that their intention was to make sure that we don't address the people. They did not start just recently. Any person who is in government, who is civilized, who arms the young ones to commit violence is wicked. A government that uses weapons against its own citizens is wicked. This is the only country where you would find people in government sponsoring, instructing, initiating murder and violence to transact politics, sponsoring terrorism. In other countries, governments are struggling with terrorists who are trying to destabilize governments. In this country, it is the government that is in itself turning itself into a terrorist. And the citizens are trying to restrain government from terrorist acts. But let me say, we appreciate the police, if what I have read is anything to go by, for their professionalism. Yes, we are not happy with what they did to us in Gokwe, but the fact that they've managed to investigate and certain people have been apprehended or have been arrested, we must give kudos where they are due. We understand how politics is poisoning effective policing and professional policing in this country. The police officers know their duties, and I want to tell you, our police officers are one of the best in the world. But they are poisoned by politics and partisan instruction. That's why we must be able to arrest the toxicity that is being forced onto our police. I know that the institution of the police, the RRP, is interfered with to be tarnished by partisan politicians who always think that the police are their private militia. And this runs against the integrity of our police. And we must be able to deal with this. I have it on good authority that they were planning this thing ahead of time. And that what they did, according to the police, is something that was premeditated, and they know the sponsors, and the sponsors are big political people. But let me just give a context to the violence we have seen in this country, so that you see that KweKwe is not an isolated case. KweKwe is just a pattern of behavior. It's a culture that continues. You know that Itai Zamara has not been accounted for to this day. He was kidnapped in broad daylight. Nobody from government has apologized or visited the Zamara family to explain the circumstances, but also to even explain to the nation. In serious governments, when one citizen is jeopardized, kidnapped, or disappears, a government will have to stop, because it's a serious matter. That is what we mean when we say we represent a responsible, responsive government when we then take over, in not short distance, a future to come. You know what happened in 2018, August? People were shot at during broad daylight by guns. There was this commission. None of the commission recommendations were adopted. In January, when there were demonstrations, 2019, people were killed, almost 17. Nothing was done. I buried all of them. I visited the families. None from government visited those people. To this day, no compensation has been done. The MDC trio, they are the ones who are now being accused, when in fact they were the ones who were violated and whose rights were violated. Our senior leaders, our activists, citizens, change champions, general. That is not the definition or color of freedom. That is not liberation. That is oppression. And that is taking the village. You know that I went to Mashingo on the 11th of October. Old women. We could have done a lot. These were old women, our grandmothers, our grannies, who were mobilized by ZANU-PF to blockade our roads and to throw stones at us. But we felt, look, we don't want to reciprocate violence because that's not our character, that's not our nature. We were embarrassed, we were harassed, we were humiliated. But that is the price of going on the highway to freedom on a peace platform. We will never be provoked. It's not because we do not have capacity to be like ZANU, but we are the alternative to ZANU. We can't copy them. We can't be a replica of that which we are fighting. You know that on the 18th of October, they attacked our convoy. And I missed death by a whisker. A bullet ran through my car. Mnangagwa is even making a mockery of it. No investigation. And they know the people who were responsible. These are ZANU-PF people. They blocked our roads and they were seen by our local officials. Nothing has been done. They were not arrested. That is gangsterism. Zimbabwe is in the hands of gangsters. It's a gangster's paradise. We need this country to be a paradise of citizens who want freedom and peace. No investigation has been done. Roadblocks were all over as we went across the countryside. Guess what? Every police roadblock was punctuated by a ZANU-PF roadblock, an illegal one. But they were not arrested. I can tell you, in Chipinge, it was the case just before Chipinge. It was the case in Nyanga. It was the case in Gutu. And this has been happening. You know that they also killed our young man, Nyasha Jambe, again during that talk. Roadblocks, you have seen them. The Gokwe violence and the KweKwe violence are only but a series of activities in the context of what has been happening. Now, what is the KweKwe? And he was staying in his one room in Bizo. And they to take away his one room and his one life. Why? Because of politics. Why? Because of impunity. Why? Because certain of the political leaders in ZANU-PF are being allowed to turn KweKwe into a terrorist zone. I was told that people in KweKwe do not have peace. Every day, every week, there are reports of people who are being killed by the so-called Bakumanema Bemba or Al-Shabaab, or they call it Mashurugu. And I don't know why they want to tarnish the name Shurugu, because some great people come from Shurugu. You know that Togogara is from Shurugu. I don't know why they would want to then call Mashurugu these people who are doing these very bad acts, Mashurugu. But that is the case we have, and with these reports. We cannot create an environment for free and fair election in the face of escalating political violence. Mr. Mnangagwa and your ZANU-PF, if you don't want competition, don't call for elections. And if you don't call for elections, we know that you don't deserve to be in office. We reject an electoral process that relies on blood and drawing blood from innocent citizens. We plead with every citizen in Zimbabwe to just make sure that they stay away from violence. We want peace in our country. We are a peace-loving people and a peace-loving nation. We do not want violence at all. I've listened to Mr. Mnangagwa and his team talking about, oh, Mr. Chamisa wants violence. I'm a man of peace. I carry no weapon except 3 C's. And if you are threatened by those 3 C's, tough luck. I have no violence. I have no weapon. Don't come to me with weapons. If you want to come with the weapon of love. That is the weapon I'm willing to interact with. We demand accountability. We have just received a report. There was a memo, which is a very detailed memo from the police. I hope that is a correct reflection of what's happening there. And I must say, in that report, we have a number of things that have been raised. Some people are saying, but why are you jumping into conclusion that is ZANU-PF? But what needs to be done? Number one. And of course, we are going to attach for the press a detailed report of the total number of patients attended to, the number of the deceased, number of admissions, and also those themselves must be checked and must be stopped. Goliath, I am David. I have the anointing for you. Come with your anointing. Let's meet on the plane of elections and political competition. Not guns. Guns are needed in Ukraine, where there is a war. We are not at war. Even guns in Ukraine, we don't need them. We want peace in the world so that dialogue triumphs and guns are silenced. We demand an immediate investigation and accountability for those remarks. I hope that the Peace and Reconciliation Commission are going to take this. We also want to hear more from the churches. Pastors, pulpits are not just for preaching the word. You must also speak truth to power. Don't be intimidated. Civil society, we can't allow this to go unchecked. We also demand an investigation by the Human Rights Commission into the numerous cases of violence. In Gokwe, tear smoke was used, baton sticks, dogs, on the 18th of February to be investigated. The arrest and torture of citizens for wearing yellow, Zela Gumbo, Inyandoro, Prince Mtebuka, and Tatenda Chibwada must be investigated. And the countries be brought to book. Those who masquerade as police beating up people must be flushed out and exposed. Police officers are by training not trained to kill, to beat up people. They are trained to police and to maintain peace, law and order. We know it. SADC and AU, we are going to be writing you and we are putting you on notice that Zimbabwe is a powder keg about to explode. This will affect the region. It will cause instability. Your peace and our peace, the regional peace and security is under threat. We can't have a repeat of 2008. We can't have a repeat of the sins we have seen in the region where there is instability. To our church, I urge you to pray. Let us pray so that violence and the demon of violence does not engulf our country. We don't want bloodshed. We want peace. Our police, keep doing what is good. Not the bad that we saw in Gokwe or the bad we have seen elsewhere, where you are chasing the citizens who are your masters. Your salary comes from these citizens. Respect them. Respect their dignity and their rights. Our police must act for the people, for the country, and for the rule of law. You know, I always talk about what is written on the police logo. Pro Patria for the country, pro lege for the law, and pro populi for the people. Stand for that, defend people's rights, protect the citizens. Your duty is not to protect oppressors, but to protect and stand in solidarity with the oppressed. To ZANU-PF, liberation was about freedom, and let the people free, set the people free. The liberation struggle was about one man, one vote. Respect it. The sanctity of human life, honor it. The sovereignty of the will of the people, give it. And the dignity of the Zimbabwean people, respect it. To those who are in the citizens' family, Triple C, the majority of the people, because we are the majority party. Peace is our DNA. Peace is our signature. Don't provoke people and don't be provoked. We want peace in Zimbabwe. We are the biggest alternative and we are the next government. Charity begins at home. Let's do what has to be done. I wish to thank you for listening. God bless you. God bless Zimbabwe. And may the demon of violence be arrested and taking this country back to God. Back to honoring our Lord Jesus Christ so that there's peace, prosperity, and harmony in our country. And we're able to prosper once more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, thank you very much. We're going to just take a few questions, if that's okay, Mr. President.
If any more questions, I'm ready.
We'll take some questions. I think, like the President has highlighted, it's a dark day, so if there are any questions for the President flowing from his address, we'll take them now. As usual, kindly introduce yourself, the news house you come from, and then just ask one question so that we can give the floor to other people.
I'm so happy, you know, that when I say things, they don't normally ask questions.
They don't ask questions.
And I'm so glad. But you always have one or two.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. My name is Yvonne Mchaka from Zimbabwe Daily. You mentioned that you had a report on the intention to disrupt your rally. What did you do with that information, and how prepared are you, should you receive further information like that on your future rallies, to protect the people?
Well, what we did, we can't divulge. But if we had not done a lot more of what we did, we would have recorded more deaths. These guys wanted blood. They were even targeting the leadership. They were even coming. You know, the first disturbance, we knew. They actually wanted to patrol bomb our convoy. Okay? But it shows you wicked people who believe in eliminating opponents. And we've told all our... So that's how we know them. But they didn't have number plates. And yet you know that in this country, people have been arrested for driving without number plates. So we are very conscious of what we are fighting against. They believe in violence. We have enough mechanisms to make sure that we will protect citizens who come to our rallies. Once bitten, twice shy. That also entails that those who are associated with ZANU-PF may not be able to have access to our rallies. And that entails across the spectrum. Because we've seen that our own laxity, our own magnanimity and generosity is being abused. We will limit access to our venues to those who are genuine journalists, who are not working for ZANU, and we know you. We will not allow you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Are there any other questions?
I'm sure the last one.
Yes, sir, Leo.
Thank you. My name is Leo Onede from newzimbabwe.com. From the police memo, you realize that most of the perpetrators themselves are from Dizo. And that is where Honorable Settlement Kenya wants to contest. What does this mean? How is he going to handle? Have you talked to him, and what has he said?
Well, it's not just settlement. It's also Judith Tobayo. They are living under difficult circumstances. They're not being allowed to even campaign. Just to do door-to-door, house-to-house, person-to-person meetings. They gave me a report just yesterday. That is so difficult. In certain areas, people are even not allowed to put on t-shirts. And people have been followed house to house to be told, don't dare vote for the CCC. And I don't understand. They created their opposition, MDC Alliance. Please, go to your guests. You said they are the official opposition. Why are you bothering us? You said we are partless. You said we don't belong. Why are you so scared? We formed this party, you say it's too strong for us. Why do you invite competition? You invite electoral blows. We give you just one punch. A sucker punch like so of life. It's good to leave the political stage with grace, with humility, with honor. It's about your legacy. You have done a lot, good and bad. Please, allow us to help you, celebrate you on the good, and perhaps fix your bed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to take the very last one, only because...
Dara,
so blessed, if you may. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just going through social media, there has been allegations that you, as a party, you staged managed this attacks on yourselves, and that you are seeking to get attention ahead of the United States of America.
It's about change, and we'll never sacrifice people's lives for political power or for political positions. Never. We have resisted that temptation, and we'll continue to resist it. So, look, ZANU always say things. They've never accepted anything. Even if they are the ones who are perpetrators, their fingers will be pointing at all other people. Don't you know the Ken Gala story? Don't you know what they've done, even the June short sleeve, long sleeve, don't you know about it? Have they owned up? Which other political party has the largest number of dead bodies? Which other political party or political leaders are drenching in the smell of people who have died on account of political violence? Except ZANU. can say Zande Europa. Whose blood? Is it your blood? And it's the citizens' blood. So look, they will say whatever they are saying. It was a clear attack. But the police knew about it. We were also informed about it. You can go and ask the police. Zambia people know about it. They will pretend to say, we don't, but they know about it. These are people who are known. And they're in KweKwe. You are from KweKwe yourself. You know that these people are there. There is impunity. Nothing is happening to them. They are riot and on the rampage in KweKwe. There's no peace in KweKwe.
Synesthetic.